We're good. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please stand and, never mind, I'm just kidding. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is our work session for the month of May. Purpose of tonight's meeting is to go over possible agenda items that will be voted on next Wednesday at the voting meeting. With that, I will move on to next week. We will do the recognition meeting. We had 1/7, 7/22 was a regular board meeting on April 9th. Next week, item 2, we will have private promises. Reports from any standing committees of the board.
May have to pull mine up on, I don't remember what I wrote. Driver meeting. We just talked about the current events happened in the last couple of months. From close calls with buses to kids on the buses. So just trying to have discussions on how to handle them, make them better as we move on.
In addition to posting for drivers, when you're driving, we're going to post for bus monitors as well.
Yes, and I think I put on there, we're looking for them too. Driver training class, nobody come knocking on my door to sign up for any classes yet, so as soon as I get some people, I want to have a class. And last, we're looking for a lot of people. We need 4 drivers, 2 monitors, and 1 van driver. Got a few leads, I think. See what happens.
Can we put that on the Spartan page or anything to let people
I think it's been everywhere. I just think there's a lot of places that are very hurting for drivers, and everybody's pulling from one place to another, and like, I don't know if any place is going to be better. It just,
I see everybody keeps raising their prices, so it's going to be a lot of them out there.
My school, sometimes they take a route and then they come back and get another route. They don't all leave at once. We have 25 buses. They're there all the time waiting. Because they don't have enough.
and I hear,
I think it's some of the bigger schools too. They'll divide and conquer, and you have your assigned route. But if so-and-so misses, then these 2 buses.
Yeah.
Same.
That's where they are.
But we're on 422. We have, how many buses do we have out there? Just 1 in the morning, or 1 in the high school, 1 at the elementary?
one that picks up on 422. We have 1 that picks up on 422. Because we're going out one way and we're got to come back the other way. So I definitely have 1 on the one side picking up and 1 on the one coming back too.
I see, man, there's a lot of accidents out there, and I always wonder, I mean, I know that's a bad place for us out there. I just doesn't.
We have a few houses out there right past Forbes excavation. There's a house up on the hill up there. Right there is the stop. Across the street by the old feed screw place, there's a stop there too.
Okay,
And the golf course is a stop, the mini golf course. And over the year, this year I actually got the bus going in there and turning around, so we don't stop there because we had a couple close calls there. So we always stopped there for many years. But we did in there this year actually.
well, at least we're limiting our exposure, I guess. Any questions for Mr. State? Mr. Jones?
We started putting all the LED lighting in hallways. We got the cafeteria done, and we almost have this cafeteria done up here. It's almost 500 lights. We got a bunch more to go, and we spent a lot of time on the baseball, way more on the baseball and softball than we did the track. There was a lot of, the whole month was pretty much there. We got grass that's, as you've noticed, it's kind of growing a little bit. And then we got through last month, we got through the toy tractor show, the choral concert, the band concert, and the grand march for prom. So other than that stuff, the maintenance for last month was actually very low, which was good. I mean, there was a lot of stuff done, but actual breakdowns and problems was short, which was fine by me because there was a lot of other stuff flying.
Imagine ball fields are bigger job than anything.
Especially when you have three games and a track meet all one night. Yeah, it gets a little
I
busy.
did have somebody mention to me that girls' ball field over here, the backstop, the top of it's coming loose.
They're hung up with wire. I just talked to Paul Leslie last week. We're gonna see if I can get, when we right, if I can get the loader up there, if we can stand on top just to get up. Without
Thank you for
getting
getting
it
the
lifted,
top
might be
on that.
something.
Yeah. Any questions for Mr. Jones? Mr. Wayland?
All right, I'm sure some of you noticed the stone pillar that's in pieces there at the entrance. It was not from Tractor Day, so nobody hit it with a tractor. I think it was actually later that night, we had a baseball game, and one of the players' parents drove a tractor trailer to come watch his boy play, and didn't quite make the turn. So we had an officer here, Officer Walker, and he came right up to her, told her about it. She went up, took pictures, did a police report, got all his information, got a bill today for him. So he'll be getting that bill here tomorrow. And he said he's going to pay it. So whether it's out of his pocket or insurance, but it'll get paid for. We got all the same, Mr. Jones got all the same stone that's on the other one, so it should look good. So that'll get taken care of. And obviously, if for some reason it doesn't, then we have other avenues that I can take, but I don't think that'll be an issue at all. We're also working on the School Violence Prevention Program grant. It's an SVPP grant. It's very specific on what we can get with it. We've gotten denied it in the past, but they're selective on doing it. So right now, brainstorming for ideas. I think there might be some technology, especially with camera systems and notification systems for law enforcement and EMS that we might be able to use with this grant. So if we get it, then we can get some stuff maybe paid for that otherwise we wouldn't have to. So that might save us some money budgetarily. So we're working on that. I'm trying to pigeonhole what I can fit into there. And Tractor Day, no issues at all. Great. Went well. Kids were great. No problems. You know, and, I was actually sitting there watching it, and I was telling Officer McLean was with me there also. And I told him, I was like, I can't decide next year if I want to bring my son here to watch this or if I want to drive a tractor myself with him here. It's like, I can't do both, but so it was really exciting. I know how much he loves tractors, so I think it's a great community thing you do here. I love it. The kids are respectful. You know, they do a good job, so I'm really proud of that.
Mr. Lake, care to share a couple of things you told me about the kids and the cleanup and cover?
Yeah, I mean, they pulled in about 6:15 or so. They respected that, and it's amazing. They had 3 Blackstones working, cooking. You know, they have to be in here and in first period by 8:15. I said this the first year, 2 years ago when I started here. I'm sitting there at 8 o'clock going, how am I going to get half the school into the building? I don't have to say a word. It's truly unbelievable. Same thing this year. It was 8:08. I texted my dad, who was a teacher for 43 years at Mohawk. He likes hearing these stories. I texted him at 8:08 that all the students have cleaned up. There's not a speck of anything in the parking lot, and they're in the building already. Some of them were here earlier than they would have been if they just had a normal day. So you can't ask for more from our
You
students.
asked for permission to take your wagon.
Oh, and then the one that did have a wagon, Mr. Leif, I'm gonna leave here at 8. I gotta take it home so I could be back on time. And she did that. So, I mean, the respect of our students is, it's just, can't say enough for it.
Mrs. Leghorn, that was your first.
That was my first Tractor Day. I now have a Tractor Day t-shirt. And yes, unbelievable was kind of the words I used. It was a party. Music was playing, the grills were going, everybody's tailgating and just having a good time. And when it was time to come in, they all came in. I was like, huh.
Sure.
At our previous school, it might not have been like that.
I'm sure Mike Parker and Butch Ensko are very happy that the tradition they started without Mr. Kroll's permission has evolved into, I believe the word you used was event.
Yes.
They had a great time.
Anything else for Mr. Wayland? Mrs. Clinker?
So I just have updates, right? So program updates, special education, we started with 120 kids. We have 121, with 14 graduates and 5 early intervention kids coming in. So next year numbers are going to be about the same. Gifted, we have 14 students. 504s, we have 26 students. So we've increased by 3 since the beginning of the year. Just in names, I'm horrible with names. Jessica and Amber have done a total of, Jess has done 53 evaluations and Amber has done 10. So we're not completing significant evaluations. We've had 6 homeless students this year and 3 foster care students this year. So I don't know what our numbers were in previous years, but the foster care students have all come up from Pittsburgh. So that's quite a larger number than I would expect for our population. And we've only had 17 enrollments and withdrawals in special education. And that's something I always keep track of. Do we have a transient population? And we're pretty good with that. We had 12 students enroll and 5 students withdraw. Had a lot of intervention this year. Elementary intervention, we've had in our core team and IST, we had 43 students enrolled, 3 qualified for special education, 11 were dismissed, and 14 made some notable progress. And we're seeing those students 2 to 4 times a week in order to get that progress. But what that means is then they're not qualifying for IEPs. With regard to speech MTSS or speech intervention, we had 20 students enrolled and 10 were dismissed because of them meeting their goals. Mental health services, we have 3 different types of mental health services provided in this district. Human Service Center comes in. They've met consistently with 8 students providing therapy, primarily at the elementary school. Our Compass program, that is with Angelus, and we've had 29 students seen through Angelus through the Compass program, and that is parents initiated, insurance paid. The wellness program is the program that we have through our grants, and that is through Angelus, but those are parents who maybe don't have access to insurance or who don't proceed with therapeutic services outside. And we have 19 students go through that program this year. That will continue next year. The initial funds have dried up. However, we have applied for a grant that we received earlier this year, and so that money will continue.
19, is that high school, elementary? Or?
Both.
Okay.
So those numbers are all mental health wise, both elementary and high school. We've conducted about 12 threat assessments this year. That's either suicidal ideation or homicidal ideation or threat to self, threat to others. And that's what I was told about, was participated in. So again, that's one of the aspects of our Act 44 that we have to keep track of. We had to have threat assessment training for all of our teams within the buildings. That includes our nurses, our counselors, and our administrators. James and I were both initially trained, and everybody else has now been trained. So we'll be using Navigate 360, which is a platform for us to keep track of very specifically what kind of threat assessments we're conducting, whether a student says, I want to harm myself, or whether I want to harm somebody else. So we'll have a little bit better data next year with regards to that. And again, that is a state mandate. On a more positive note, our coffee shop grants that we received $18,000 for, we have service learning periods 1 and 2, and Amanda and Jessica were able to purchase an ice maker, 2 iPads, an iced coffee maker. We had over 26 students working in the coffee shop each day, and over 125 drinks were sold during periods 1 and 2, Tuesday through Friday, during that service learning time. That's a lot of coffee.
Juice them up.
They're going. With that money, they're continuing to maintain the upkeep of the program, but they were also able to go on some field trips to Biddy and Bo's coffee shop in Pittsburgh. And it is staffed primarily with people with disabilities, so that's why they went, which is pretty cool. They went to a Pirates game, and they also did the Polar Plunge. And then we also had our speech intern who, Allison Andre, who received a $5,000 stipend from Pennsylvania Department of Ed. And so we had applied for that grant, and she had done a wonderful job with Amber, and we were just really happy to have her and be able to pay her for her time.
Any questions from Mrs. Claiborne? Thank you. Mr. Lake.
Good evening, everybody. Congrats to head coach Heather McKissick and the varsity girls track team. They won the section championship. I believe it was the first time in 40 years. They went through the playoff round. They competed yesterday at the WPL team championship, which in my research, this is the only time the Laurel girls track team has participated in that. There's 4 schools that are at the team championship. Quaker Valley won it, and we were only a couple points away actually from runner-up. We finished 4th officially, but we lost by 2 points to North Catholic and a couple points to Carleton. So we were right there as one of the better teams in the whole WPL. So that's something that is very impressive. And a lot of the team is made up of a lot of sophomores and freshmen. So there's good things coming that way. Tori continued to amazes everybody. I mean, she's at a whole different level. That second bullet up there, this is really an impressive honor. Every year the WPL picks 10 females and 10 males. And we're talking about over 100 schools in the WPL. Students have to apply. And it's a truly scholar athlete award. It's not just based on her athletic performances, but also her academics. And she was chosen as one of the 10 girls to receive $1,000 from the WPL level. Her picture will go up in the WPL office and will be posted there, forever. So once again, she continually amazes all of us in what she's done. 25-26 master schedule is complete. We ran the schedules for the teachers last Friday. They received their schedules. The students will probably get a copy of their schedule next week. They'll have a couple weeks to review that, and then obviously we'll continue our tradition with bump up day, that next to last day of school, where the 6th graders will come up and everybody will go through next year's schedule, sort of like a day -1 of the first day of school. So you get to see what the first day will be like even before the summer. I really like doing that. I think it's effective. Kids get to see it, teachers get to see it. If there's any questions, they have the summer to address those. And then on day 1, we're ready to go. So it's sort of like an unofficial day 1 for the next school year. As we already commented, Tractor Day I thought was another success. The next day, last Friday, prom was a success. I want to congratulate Halen Smith, who was voted prom queen, and Tony Nacera prom king. It's obviously by their peers, so that says a lot. PSAs and Anocties are in the books. Now we turn our attention this week. We started AP exams. The next week will be full of Keystone exams. We get through this week and next week, and all the exam windows are in the rear view mirror. And then before you leave today, something that I really like as a former social studies teacher, with the help of Mr. Rich and others, Mr. Jones hanging everything, we have a new civics wall in the lobby if you haven't seen it. We have a U.S. flag, we have a Commonwealth of PA flag, and then beside the U.S. flag, we have a picture of President Trump, and by the Commonwealth flag, we have a picture of Governor Shapiro. So I think that's an addition. I've already had students and teachers comment. They don't always know who the person on the right is with Shapiro, so it's a little learning lesson for everybody, I think. But they get the guy on the left, I think. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Questions from Mr. Lake? Thank you, Mrs. Clemens.
I'm going to piggyback off of Mr. Lake for a minute. Some of the conversations I hear with the students is they will walk and they'll stare at Trump's picture and they're like, he's watching us. No matter where they stand, his eyes are on them. It's hysterical. We have the Principals 200 Club. We'll be giving the winners, Ben Franklin donated meals for them, so we'll get cards for that. Our attendance for both elementary and high school averaged about 95% this past month. I was very impressed during the PSSAs. We had very good attendance in both the elementary and the high school, very few makeups. That's very rare, especially when the state tells you you have to give the test in this window, and then the federal government says take your child to work days in that same window. So that always is a challenge, but we made it work. We had our PSSA assembly at the elementary. I want to thank the drama club. They came down and put on a little skit for the students at the elementary. It was for the students in grades 3 through 6. Usually we get like National Honor Society or Student Council. This time I asked the drama club it's a group that usually doesn't get involved, and they did a nice job. The high school journalism class made a video, a good luck video. There's links on there so you can actually see both if you want to look at them. Friday was our very long day. Mr. Lake was having fun at the prom while I was here at the school before 5 in the morning and getting all the 8th graders on the bus to Gettysburg. We lucked out. Beautiful day. It was absolutely gorgeous. The weather was perfect. And this is my 4th year going. I have to say, along with Tractor Day, this was the best group of students that we ever took. At one point in time on our way to Breezewood, I literally turned around because I was like, are they on the bus? They were very sleepy, but they were so good and respectful. On the way home, a couple of kids started getting a little chatty, and all I did was turn around and they just all got quiet. I don't know. I didn't know it was that intimidating to them, but they were well. We had great questions, very good questions, very interactive this time. There's some pictures that have been posted. Mr. DiBiase had posted them, I think, on Smart Country. Spring sports, can't say enough for our maintenance crew and security. We are constantly changing multiple times in a day of what's going on with spring sports. So that's always keeping us on our toes, and the teachers on their toes too, because you're trying to keep track of who's keeping it, having a live system of having the spreadsheet and linking the kids' names to it has been very helpful too. That's helped with the communication of everyone, so they know exactly who's going where and what time they're dismissed. Lawrence County Coffee Club, that's run by Visit Lawrence County. They got in touch with me. They did this coffee sleeve project. If you like coffee and you go to any of the coffee shops, you might see the sleeves that go around the cups that are decorated. They asked us to participate. The schools in the area all participated. So this year I had the 2nd grade classes, Mrs. Carlson's class, Mrs. Nicolutis' class, and Mrs. Panic's, along with Mrs. Long's class up at the high school. Since they run the coffee cart, they decorated the sleeves. There was about 1,000 sleeves that they decorated all together between 2nd grade and them. So if you get a cup of coffee, look and see, you might see one decorated by one of our Laurel students.
The attendance at 95, it doesn't go a whole lot higher. I mean, I've seen it at 96 a few times, but it doesn't go a whole lot higher than that, does it? I've seen us around 94
maybe
times.
in August, because it's so like a few days, but yeah, it's usually around there. They are so great at sharing germs at the elementary level and high school level. Senioritis starts kicking in pretty good in the springtime, so we have to constantly remind them.
Thank you. Mr. Sturgeon.
Mr. Lape and Mrs. Clemens already talked about it, but April's a lot, basically PSSA month. That's a lot of what we do. We did send out our quarterly report cards at the beginning. As Mrs. Columbus mentioned, the PSSA assembly, something we do every year, kind of twofold, calm the kids down, let them know that, it's not the end of the world, or, take their time and give them tips. And the video is nice. It's nice. High school kids come down and talk to them. It's nice on the video. Their teachers from the high school, send them, good luck statements and tell them to do your best. So it's always nice to have that. We usually do the day before if we can. As far as the preparation, administration, everything went very smoothly. Probably had as Mrs. Clemens said, the best attendance. There were several days that third grade, fourth grade, sixth grade, 100% attendance, which is just that's a tribute to what we do, but it's also a tribute to the parents, because they know it's important to get them to school, the read letters come home. So, I mean, makes things a lot easier, but to see 100% attendance on several days in a row is just amazing, different grade levels. We did a big teacher night again this year, raised over $4,000. Didn't break any records this year. Unfortunately, Shenango etched us out, but we do it on their home turf at the Shenango McDonald's, so they got a little bit of home field advantage, but just a great event. It's packed for the whole 2 hours we're there. Drive through inside, so it's a great event, good fundraiser for PTO. And then end of the year planning. I mean, we've already reached the midway point of Q4, so we're talking about mega party and the year Olympics, field trips, all those great things we do for PTO at the end of the year. So come to a wind down now.
Any questions? Thanks, Dan. Mr. Lee.
All right. We just completed a camera project that you guys will actually see in the vestibule. There's an area, or you can see the high school vestibule in both the district and the high school offices now, in additional couple other cameras. Part of that has revealed, and we knew this was coming, it was so they built, we had some issues with the server. I've been fighting dying servers and some other dying equipment. But overall, it's we're in a pretty good spot. Interesting enough, we had an incident, and we lost where the server wasn't working, but thankfully it was still recorded. We were able to extract that video. As Mr. Lape, Mr. Swerbley, and Mrs. Columbus had testing of PSSA complete, it was awesome. To be honest with you, as a district assessment coordinator, I've never seen it go so smooth. Kudos to all three of these individuals. It was flawless, and we were able to get all of our tests out, except for a couple. Literally, like the next day, we turned it around. So that means, why is that important? That means we're going to have everything available for early reporting, so we'll have their test scores earlier. So kudos to Mr. Lape, Mrs. Columbus, and Mr. Swerbley for an incredible administration toward testing. Just continuing to begin for end of the year planning. There's just so many different things going, and that goes right along with summer projects. We just were getting ready to move or pull new fiber as we switch from Zito to Comcast or back to Comcast, in addition to imaging and or other areas of being proactive for maintenance. So we had 127 help desk tickets. Our response time was really fast, and resolution is still above the industry standards as well. I don't have it written on here, but I want to, as someone that grew up and went to Beaver Falls, I would tell that, like, the tractor day is like my favorite day at Laurel. It's amazing. I take pictures, send it to my wife, and I'm like, look how awesome this is. So I'm like a little kid looking at it. So I just want to give you feedback from someone that wasn't fortunate enough to experience this as a student and or a community member. It's awesome. So that's really all I have.
Any questions for Dr. Lee? Thank you.
We could never do that.
So more of a busy agenda month, we do a lot of our events on this agenda, that's why it's a hectic this month. There's also a couple of things on there that are completed before our voting meeting next week. One of them is our supply bids. They would be back from the teacher, be out to them by Monday, but there's been a few things that we're still looking at, so we'll have those numbers on there. There is also, we are rebidding our garbage service. Try to get we only have one company bid it, and it was 3 times what they have charged us the last 3 years. So we reconfigured it a little bit, asked for some different size containers and frequencies, and reached out and made contact with Macon and Waste Management. Not sure why they didn't bid, they did the last time. But anyway, I'm expecting those companies to also bid, so hopefully we can get back to where.
Did they give a reason for that?
They keep telling me that they bid it wrong the last time, but the time before that, they were just saying it was a couple dollars difference, so. Anyway, hopefully this will alleviate. I'm not quite sure, but I didn't feel confident in the person I was talking to, that she understood what possible. So anyway, hopefully that, if we can just reject them again and, if we have to, I hope we don't have to, but you'll see on the agenda, we tabled it last month, so we removed it from the table and we'll reject those and then we'll work in June. Our current bid is through the end of June, so we're still good. And, it slows down in summertime anyway. And then, the only other thing, just today, I got several additions to, for next week's voting meeting, a couple resignations or retirement. Our Craig contract that we have, like I said today, that's a renewal each year, as well as extended school year for all of our students. And of course, we're going to address budget, which keeps me busy and depressed most of the time. So, Ms. Rachel will have a presentation and we'll go through the more lengthy one next week.
Any questions? I was cleaning through some papers the other night and I come across a financial statement. Am I the only one that hasn't turned that into you yet?
No, I got one, you had to turn one in to be on the ballot, so I have that one and I don't know about the other one.
Okay,
One's enough.
okay. I wasn't sure. I don't remember when you gave it to me. Mr. Rich.
Okay, typically, I only do one budget presentation, but because of our current circumstance and because we have some relatively new board members, I wanted to give an introductory budget presentation that kind of sets up our situation so that next week when we do the budget, that presentation might make more sense. Also, keep something in mind. You're only approving first reading of the budget. And the first reading and the second reading do not have to be identical. So between today and next week, if there's some feedback, we can make adjustments in between the first and second reading. I'll gladly entertain any questions at any time. Just interrupt and I can provide some clarity, perhaps Jen or somebody else. Okay, so we're going to look at enrollment, staffing, healthcare, building the budget, and our fund balance. All right. So enrollment. Over the last decade, we have lost about 20% of our enrollment. I want to say at the peak of Laurel's enrollment many moons ago, it might have been 1,400 students. But if you look now, we are under 1,000 as our estimate for 24-25, and and if you look in the far right two columns, it's not like there's a negative, then there's a plus. There's a negative, then a plus, plus. It's negative, 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 negative. So that's not exactly an impressive statistic, but it's one you need to be aware when we're talking about average daily membership and any funding relative to our enrollment. Come on, baby. Okay. Is that right? Hold on. Yeah, I was doing it right. All right. We have $450,000 that we are spending to outside cyber enrollments. How does that break down? We have 23 regular education students that cost us nearly $15,000 per year. Essentially, that comes off of our cost per student, not theirs. And we have 9 special education students that cost us over $25,000 per year. I will tell you that we make active efforts to recruit students back. For the first few years I was here, from 16 to say pre-COVID, I'd say we'd have about 18 students. But for whatever reason, that number has risen. and it's extremely expensive. And I want you to keep these big dollar items in mind. So last year, when there was a cyber reform bill and they were all going to get $8,000, well, 8,000 instead of 14,000, and I don't know what the special education would have been. So if you take 5,000 or 6,000 times 23, you're looking at $120,000 plus difference in that bill alone. And I know it doesn't cost $15,000, nor does it cost $8,000 per student to educate a student in the cyber world. All right, Lawrence County, Laurel School District and the economic disadvantage in Lawrence County. So there is a little piece of Blackhawk that's in Lawrence County, but excluding them, we are the second lowest economically disadvantaged school district in Lawrence County. And again, quite comparable to our neighbor Shenango, but keep something in mind. And the reason why I bring these up is due to Laurel's relatively low percentage of economically disadvantaged students, we receive very little additional dollars in our ADM for any poverty weighting. So for example, what do they call it? The balance up or level up? The level up funding, but last year was $59,000, this year's 20. Right. Thank you. You're leveling us up. I don't want to poo-poo $22,000, but I almost want to throw it right back at them. I mean, what are you really doing? So enrollment matters, economically disadvantaged matters. All right. As our ADM shrinks, any monies from the state proportionally allotted by population will be impacted. Also, this one's for Mr. Hammerschmidt. Over 80% of our residents of the school district do not have school-age children. So we need to be prudent when we raise taxes. Now, we got a lot of proud grandparents in this district. And we raised taxes 2 of the last 3 years. Would it be financially appropriate to raise taxes again this year? Yes. Is that realistic? I really don't think that's realistic, nor is it a recommendation of the administration to do so.
What does the tax act always forget that number? What's it?
The millage?
Well, what's it dollar wise do we get from raising it?
If we raise to the index, I think it's about $300,000. Okay, so again, we're going to be 2 million in the hole. I don't want to poo-poo 325,000, but you're not going to tax your way out of this either. All right. Currently, K-2 have a combined enrollment of 195, or about 65 per class. Our enrollment as it stands right now for next year in kindergarten is 48. So we're going to project about 55 if trends hold true. So now we're going to have, recently we just had our first couple classes under 70. Now we're going to have our first class under 60. We offer a great product, but we need planned housing communities to increase real estate inventory in Laurel. What gets put on the market sells rather quickly for asking price and beyond. And I'm happy to report that at yesterday's admin meeting, Mr. Jones is putting up Jones Farm as a new housing development. In typical Laurel fashion, I asked Mr. Jones, what about Jones Farm? Your response was?
Nope. As everybody else.
Oh, it's a bunch of old people now. I mean, we had more kids before with less houses than we have now. So, I mean, you can build more houses, but it's still, people start having more kids or something.
That new housing plan, that's come out.
Yeah, I see that's.
No
All
comment.
off the market, all off of Howard End, all gone.
No comment. But in any event, again, our fundamental mission is to educate, but we need to understand who we're educating and the impacts of enrollment. I mean, obviously, K-2, you're talking about what's going to happen over the next decade.
Do we still have 4 teachers in the
No.
kindergarten? Okay.
So we only have 1 grade level now with 4. Funny you brought that up. You remember the big meeting in the cafeteria? We used to have 5. We need 4 per class. We have not changed our student-teacher ratio. But what I will tell you is, the elementary is about pick clean, if you will, all right? You know, if and when you attrition that one teacher, okay? Here's the example I give at the high school level. Social studies is a 712 cert. Math is a 712 cert. English is a 712 cert. Now science is by area, right? Biology, chemistry, physics. Let's put them aside. Let's also put aside specials. You're gonna have one art teacher. You're gonna have one band director. We're gonna have 2 phys ed teachers, right? 1 male, 1 female. We're gonna have 1 world language teacher, right? So you're not shrinking those any further. But if I need 3 per grade level, right? On a 712 cert. So that means 3 sections of English for 7th grade English. That means 3 sections of English for 8th grade English. That means I give them a prep and they have a duty. There's their 8-period day for 1 teacher. So down the road, the appropriate number for English, for social studies, and for math would be 3. Now, like I said, science is certification driven a little bit more than that. So we have always looked at how these attritions are going to impact instruction. So my point to you is, down the road, if there is a retirement or someone moves on from one of those areas, you're going to have to look at the student data. And I know you want it, but can you afford it? So let's take a teacher, all right? Starting salaries in the mid 50s. Average wage here is in the mid 70s, like 77,000. Freezing math, let's call it 80. Okay. So 1/3 of 80 is a little more than 25,000. There's your pension. Okay. There's another 7% for FICA or whatnot. So let's call it a 30,000 on top of that. All right. So 80 and 30 is 110. Oh, by the way, wait till I get to healthcare. Most of those average wages are married or with kids. If you are a teacher with a spouse and kids, your plan costs the district $40,000. One thing down the road, and I'll say this again when we get to healthcare, that I want you to keep in mind is the following. The 2 drivers in healthcare are, 1, experience, and again, I want our employees to have appropriate benefits. And God forbid if they get sick, or God forbid something catastrophic happens, I'm glad they have the insurance. That's the human in all of us. That's the compassion in all of us. But we have to understand the finances behind healthcare. So you need to understand that that's all part of the compensation package. And also construction of the plan, which we worked on a couple things last time, and hopefully we can work on a couple more this time, matters. By comparison, and I know this because obviously I'm at the Career Center too, teacher, spouse, kids, $25,000. Similar construction experience has been different. And oh, by the way, our rate, which was over 20%, again, I'll get to that, but I don't think you can hear this enough. That's a 3-year average. That's a 3-year average. So next year, even if we have a good year this year, there's still 2 bad years in the 3-year average. We're not going to have a 6, 8, or 10% increase next year. If we can get it to 15 from 20, that's a win. That's a win. So, if we were a Catholic school, I'd pass around the sacramental rhyme line right now, but we got a little bit more to go. Tim, you got a question, comment?
Well, just when we were in negotiations with the teachers, I mean, Rashidi, I thought they told us we were looking like 4 or 5%. I mean, they really.
Well, we have, as far as Rashidi, our averages long-term have been good. And I think you have that somewhere.
I do.
But,
It's like 5 and a half long term, for the entire consortium, not just long.
But the thing about it is, no one can predict, a cancer, right? if you get a cancer or two, and again, I want those cancer patients to have every treatment. I want them to have the best treatment. Please don't misconstrue. But we have to understand the cost that comes along with that. Yes.
In negotiations,
Yeah.
since you said the word, I beat my drum that people were tired of hearing me say, a 5-year contract is ridiculous. There's no economist, the best in the world, can tell you what's gonna happen next year, let alone 4 years down the
And I
road.
will explain that, but I'm not gonna do it.
Well,
Negotiations is a confidential issue which we can
I know.
discuss behind closed doors.
I'll-
But you're welcome to state your opinion publicly.
I will.
So this is in your packet, and I'll let you click on the links. But, okay, we want to talk real estate, right? Okay. In Hickory, let me share this tab instead so you can see what I see. We have 5 homes for sale in Hickory Township. So, you know, and you can just, there's no inventory. There's no real estate inventory in Lawrence County really right now, and there's even less in Laurel. So I've heard.
That's a good deal.
No, I didn't want that. All right. Give my fat thumbs a minute to get
Has a
back to the
beautiful
right
view.
tab. And for your viewing pleasure, you can do the same thing in Scott and slip around. Now, enrollment impacts staffing. So from 2016-17 to present, I want you to start and look at the bottom where it says total and total payroll. In 16-17, we had 166 people on the payroll, paying $8.9 million in payroll. Next year, 25-26, will be the first year that we crack 9 million. Point. Over the last decade, salaries in this district have risen cumulatively less than $100,000. How do you do that? Well, let's look at the collective bargaining unit. So if you go teachers elementary, teachers high school. In 16-17, we had 82 teaching positions. For 25-26, we're going to have 72 teaching positions. We have not laid anybody off over the last 10 years. I'm going to go back and say it again. We evaluate every retirement. For example, we just hired an elementary teacher. We needed to replace that position. We are not at a point yet to attrition down to 3 per grade for all grades. We still must maintain our fundamental mission, which is providing the best education that we can. But having said that, that doesn't mean that we copy paste. If someone retires, it gets filled. Okay. Now, I want to revisit this slide as well. So, as far as renewals, last year we paid $2.8 million in healthcare premiums. For the upcoming year, you're going to pay 3.4, closer to 3.4 million in premiums. That's a new $570,000. Keep something in mind, again, about the 3-year average. So even if we have a good year this year, if you look, the lowest in the consortium was 16.33. I can't predict what we're going to get, but if I could ask Santa to bring us a present, a 15% increase on top of the 3.3 million would be nice, which is still a heck of a lot of money. Yes, please.
Just wanted to, I have a list of I don't have names or anything, of course, but I have a list through the end of March. So from July 1 through the end of March. And just in high dollar claims alone, which there are 42 of
What's the
them.
definition of a high dollar claim?
Over 250, I believe. $6.7 million. And that's in the whole consortium. So this is why we're looking at these high numbers. Everybody is, because we're all having bad experience right now. And I don't know why. And there are a couple outliers that you've even seen on the news, that happen to be in our consortium. But, it's just that, like you mentioned, the cancers and everything that are $500,000 to $1 million.
Let me give you an example of why plan construction matters, okay? SEMI glutide, right? Semaglutide, semaglutide, however, some people, it's the weight loss drug. It's Ozempic, it's Wegovy, it's all the same, okay? If your doctor prescribes that to you for weight loss under our current plan construction, it's $1,000. If you go a different route and you buy it straight from your HSA, your health savings account, it's $275 for 10 weeks. We found examples online where it's even cheaper than that. So a plan change in your formulary, and again, I say this, for future negotiations, a change in your formulary can save substantial amounts of money. This district is going to pay over $100,000 in weight loss drug prescriptions this year, up from $30,000 a few years ago. If we got a simple change in the formulary, they could still get their weight loss drug, and we would pay considerably less.
When you say major, you say 250,
$250,000, yes. Just for the record, Phil, yeah. Not $250, not $2,500, not $25,000, $250,000.
that doesn't change your experience, that doesn't rate the formulary, or you say the formulary, the drug goes into the calculation.
So that's,
Straight claims costs.
yes.
Yeah, it wouldn't change your.
So it's a good point, you're not gonna save that much money, you get cheaper, but it's not gonna. That's
No, we wouldn't be paying those claims then.
You wouldn't be paying them.
So they wouldn't go in our experience because they'd be on the HSA. All right, this slide is called Healthcare Sticker Shock. So here again, even an individual is $14,000, two-person $36,000, parent and child $33,000, $34,000, family $40,000 per contract per year. Total healthcare 3.3. So healthcare alone is 16% of our budget. I want to go back to February. We talked about state of Laurel. We're dealing with less than 13% of the budget that's discretionary. Put in your salaries, put in your benefits, put in your utilities. There's 82 to 87% of what we're doing. Now, relative, Tim, take a look. Look at 21, 22, look at 22, 23, look at 23, 24, 24, 25, a little jump, 25, 26, and a bigger jump. So, for the following, that 19.82 is going to be around in our average for the next 2 years. And the consortium, again, now we're self-insured. So each district owes what they owe relative to payout. The consortium is in the hole $14.5 million. Laurel was in the hole relative to that, $450,000. So we're going to have to pay some additional money to get that caught up. Keep in mind, if we're averaging a 10% increase, we're looking at a doubling rate, right? Every 10 years. if we're averaging a 20% increase, we're looking at a doubling rate of every 5 years. So if we go somewhere in the middle at 7, so 40 is going to become 80 in 7 years, it's unsustainable. It's unsustainable. Another cost driver. So I want to refer back to the cyber enrollment. Cyber enrollment's $450,000. As far as contract change and why the sunset is so important, the district currently has 17 healthcare contracts for retirees that cost over $500,000. Cyber and the retiree healthcare contracts is $1 million. So let's build the budget. Knowing all these fixed expenses, let's build the budget. Our taxpayers pay about $6.8 million towards this school district. We're about a 66% state aid rate. Is that correct? Somewhere in the neighborhood there. 62. So 62% of our monies come from the state, $12.9 million. And hey, all those federal dollars, those title dollars, all a whopping $250,000. Again, USDE can go. They're not bringing much to the table. They do bring all those nice special ed regulations that cost us more than we receive.
Okay, so that being said, what if we quit abiding by them? If the juice isn't worth the squeeze?
Well, you got to think about the repercussions.
That's what I'm asking. I don't know, but I'm saying if the mandates cost more than the.
Because now you're going to go to due process, and we're going to make Andrews and Price very wealthy and lose that.
That's all I'm asking. I didn't know if it was.
Yeah. Huge. Yeah. Because again, we can say we're not going to do it. Okay. We're going to go to due process. Okay. The arbitrator's going to say, what? You're going to do it. Okay. Now we're going to do it, pay to do it, pay comp ed, and pay the attorney. But for those that may not understand that, good point. Okay. So how has this yo-yo of costs affected our fund balance over the last decade? So there was a very healthy fund balance here when I first started in 2016. We were able to grow that fund balance to a peak of nearly $9 million pre-COVID. As of 6/30/2024, we were down to 7.2, and we are expecting that when we do our final end of the year reconciliation, that we're going to be about $6.1 million. Post-COVID cost drivers include the pension assessment that remains over 34%, rising healthcare costs 20% for FY 25-26, increased special education costs that are less than any special education funding from the government, and we have lost 20% of our, resulting in a 20% loss of our savings account over the last 5 years. Now, I know Jeff wants to spend it all before we go broke. And what I'm going to say, this isn't the best thing I can say, but it's a pretty honest thing that I can say is, and I've sent you some articles, many districts are deficit spending, okay? I've said this before, if you've been around, we're in line to go to zero. We are, you can see that, 8.9 to 6.1, but we're not first in line. There are local districts with similar annual deficits and less in their savings account. So my question is, what happens when a public school district in Pennsylvania exhausts their fund balance? Are you gonna be like the federal government? We just get in a constant state of revolving loans? I share her depression. I don't see any road that's reasonable that leads to a balanced budget. You want to arbitrarily cut 15 professional staff members, you want to have an economic furlough, you know, And then, so many teachers go, and for every so many teachers, one of the administrators has to go. The only ones exempt, by the way, are the superintendent, the business manager. So you guys are all on the hook. Okay? We're not doing that. You're not doing that. We're not recommending that. We've got good teachers here. We've got good support staff here. We've got good employees here. You heard about the great kids here. Those are your children. So when you give a damn, this feels terrible. And I don't apologize, nor should you, for giving a damn. And, I can express my sorrow to you that I wish I was better. I don't have anything to suggest to combat what you see right there.
34% assessment will keep going up because, let me ask a question, it won't be a question.
Yeah.
Because the new teachers are in a hybrid thing, are defined, are on their own. So people live longer, more pensions, obviously. So it's gonna go up because it's less money going into that defined pension.
That's just from the employee side. The employer side is all the same. For no matter what class.
I know what you're saying. I know what she's saying. Do you foresee in the near future that 34% going down or increasing?
Yeah, that's my point.
Correct.
It has to. Because you got less money going into defined pension from new teachers.
Yeah.
And you got all these. Not good. I've been in that situations when a pension fund, well, this one will never go broke.
No, this one's in code, so even if it goes broke, they gotta pay.
Right, I know, but other ones have.
Right. Well, my grandfather was a retired steel mill worker, and I saw what happened to his LTV pension.
I guess.
Okay, I will gladly take any question, comment, or concern. Please feel free to digest this over the next week. Again, I'll be doing a more traditional budget presentation next week, but hopefully next week's presentation makes a lot more sense, understanding the financial background that goes into it. Sorry. Okay, any questions for Mr. Rich?
When was the last time we raised taxes prior to last year?
We raised taxes 2 out of the last 3 years, and we raised
Before
taxes in
that?
2016, 17.
That's it.
So 3 over the last decade, 2 in the last 3 years. And again, if you go back to the increases in the fund balance, it was kind of hard to say we should raise taxes when we were putting money in the bank. Now, COVID hit and people went through financial hardships through that time. Then we're going to say, well, it's kind of hard to raise taxes on people struggling. So, I give credit to the board, 2 of the last 3 years, doing what's difficult. And I also give credit for going all the way to the index. If you're in for a penny, you ought to be in for a pound. Because as soon as any of you, if 5 of you get together and say you're raising taxes, you might as well go to the index because nobody cares that you only went halfway. Oh, by the way, there is some good news, Homestead Farmstead.
Homestead Farmstead, which is the Act 1 funds that come from gambling. Lots of folks gambling. We got additional funds this year. We got them last year too. We got another $82,000 from that. So anybody that has a homestead or a farmstead will get about $25 more of a discount off of their tax bill, which is about 2,100 properties of our 44.
I've never been in favor of raising taxes when you didn't have to, but there was years that we went around saying no to these taxes, that all sounded good, but slush fund.
That was the word, yeah.
So slushy.
No, it doesn't. No, it
You gotta make hay while the sun's shining.
Yeah.
Okay, any comments or questions from the floor relative to agenda items? Item 1 is approval of the minutes from the April 9th regular meeting of the board. Item 2, approval of the treasurer's report, the investment report, the general fund bills, the food service bills. I read all these, but it's a long night, so I don't think everybody wants to hear me. So I address it. Okay, item 9, board action items, personnel, retirements, resignations. We have resignation of Miss Anna Antuano, high school nurse, effective June 30th, 2025, and Mr. William Hughes, bus driver, effective June 4th, 2025. Any questions on item 9? A, I guess. Item B, National Honor Society, approved Madison it's.
That's written.
Name, I don't know what that is.
I know we struggle with the title.
As a National Honor Society advisor for the 25-26 school year at the rate of 800. Is this, are they still co-advisors?
Yes.
Go.
Okay, now Madison, is this her new married name?
Yes.
Yes, sir. She's just replacing Anna. Anna was the other co. Anna's leaving, so she's replacing.
She's the new Dawn Rogers.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, any questions on item B? Item C, approve Bethany Quad as a mentor teacher for Desiree Watterson at the rate of $600 as per collective bargaining agreement. Any questions on C? Item D, assistant girls basketball coach. Employment of Robert Natal as assistant girls basketball coach for the 25-26 school year, step 9, $5,170.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's my point.
We give three for everyone. He's got 27 years, 30 years of experience. We give him 9.
When you're on the 2 million deficit, you should have found a cheaper assistant coach.
Is this the pharmacist?
No, this is the teacher and coach from Newcastle.
Any other questions?
This my bitch. One.
Welcome back.
Put your punches in when you can, sir.
Item E, summer cleaners. We will have names for that. Summer cleaners as needed basis from June 4th, 2025 through August 20th, 2025. Rates $12 per hour. Any questions on item E? Item F, professional development workshops. Approve the following professional workshops: Amanda Long and Jessica Miles to the Cities of Inclusion Pittsburgh Summit in Pittsburgh, May 9th, 2025. The cost of the district will be approximately $260 for mileage and substitutes for Mrs. Long and Mrs. Miles. What is the work?
It is for Special Olympics. They are both the Special Olympics coaches for our bocce.
Item G, addition to the volunteer and non-instructional substitute listing for 24-25. You should have that list in your board's box. Item 10, policy adoption, second reading. We'll be approving policy 808, food services. Any questions on item A? Item B, agreement with JDS Fitness and Sports Performance at the rate of $1,333.33 for a month for 1 year period, July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Any questions on item B? Item C, we will be removing from the table the refuse removal service bid award. Jennifer explained that to us a little bit ago. Item D, reject all bids for the service. Item E, PSBA Insurance Trust Basic Program Compensation System. This will be to approve the attached renewal of the PSBA program for the July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, the rate of $4.50 per employee. What is that?
This is a program that assists with unemployment claims, which we have very few, but they are helpful. They, if possible, they will fight for us.
Okay. Item F, wrestling co-op with Wilmington. Continue a wrestling co-op for the 25-26 school year. Wilmington Area School District will be charged per student wrestler based on the program's actual cost. This has been $950 wrestler in the past few years. Any questions on item F? Item G, approve PNC Bank, Newcastle, PA as depository treasurer for the general fund for the 25-26 school year. Any questions on item G? Item H, depository for the middle high school activities fund, elementary activity fund, and cafeteria fund. And to First National Bank Laurel office. Any questions on item H? Item I is to approve Matthew Mangino as school solicitor for the rate of $135 an hour, no charge, no change from last year. Any questions on item I? Item J, approve McGill Power Bell and Associates for the audit for the year ending June 30th, 2025, at a cost not to exceed $23,000. Any questions on item I? I guess it'd be item J. Item K, advertising for bids. Approve the district to advertise for bids over $23,800 or seek quotes for items between $12,900 and $23,800, or to obtain quotes from the state bid list as determined by law for the items in the 25-26 budget as out. Any questions on item K? Item L, approve the following summer programs: remediation, academic assistant programs for 7th, 8th through July, from July 7th to July 25th, 2025, 2 hours per day. For one staff member to monitor the program, Michelle Miller. Item 2, academic assistance programs for grades K through 3 for 5 weeks, 3 days per week, 3 hours per day. Participating staff will be paid $22 per hour as the contract. Any questions on item L? Item M is contribute from the district $200 to each of the 3 township volunteer fire departments located within district boundaries: Hickory, Scott, and Slip Road. Any questions on item M? Item N, approve the attached resolution approving the Lawrence County Career and Technical Center budget for the 25-26 school year for a total of $7,884,531, with $5,926,000 as a participating school district's share. The cost per regular educated student is $13,000, no charge change from last year, with an additional amount of $5,000 per special education student, also same as last year, and an increase of $50 per day student for cyber education.
That's not an increase, my apologies, it was last year, I mischanging that word.
It's just a
It's
rate.
just $50. It's not an increase.
Any questions on item N? Item O, proposed a la carte pricing for the 25-26 school year. I assume that we're not just here.
Yeah, this is, and it'll probably change again before August, but this was part of our agreement with the state, when we have to put it in with the state through nutrition.
Okay.
We'll approve it now, and like I said, we'll have probably another one in August or September.
And this is sort of pushed by the state.
Yeah, yes, the pricing is.
It's just not us deciding what the
Pricing
rates
schools,
are.
they have to pay, costs in and stuff.
Item P, approve the attached insurance proposal for voluntary student activity insurance and interscholastic sports coverage issued by the Axis Insurance Company for the 25-26 school year, $7,626.
That's last year, this year, I have a question for Mr. Mangy that I'm waiting for. I'm able to get that, premium for this year.
Okay.
Well, we should have it for next week though.
Okay. Item Q, vocational agricultural students, approve the student from Slicker Rock Area School District to attend the middle high school in the vocational agricultural program beginning 25 to 26 school year. Slicker Rock Area School District is responsible for the students' tuition. Parents will be responsible for transportation. Slicker Rock Area School Board approved the attendance at their January 2025 school board meeting. And this is good with you guys and as well.
Yep, Ms. Bertel and I met with Ms. Palmer met with the student parents. We're getting a good one.
Okay, good. Item R, award the following bids for custodial maintenance, science, art, tech ed, and vocational agricultural ed supplies for the 25-26 school year. Breakdowns by item, vendor, and rejected items. Any questions on item R? Item S, approve the following field trips, Ms. Palmer and 6 ag students to the Shenango Recreational Center for fly, code, tech, drones, and in agriculture. Cost of the district will be transportation and substitute for Ms. Palmer. Any questions on item T? Approve the 25-26 proposed final budget for the general fund for the Laurel School District with $19,974,479 in budgeted revenues, $22,007,962 in budgeted expenditures. The allocation from the fund balance is $2,033,483. The proposed final budget does not include a tax increase. The 25-26 proposed final budget will be on display on the website in the district office until final adoption June 11th, 2025. That will be online after next week's Thursday.
Right, after between first and second reading.
Okay, any comments or questions from the board relative to agenda items? Mr. Crystal?
I have about 20 questions. No, I just wanted to say, it's good to be back and good to see everyone, and, I just wanted to come up tonight. It's been a while since I've been to a board meeting, about 2.5 years.
You're up to date.
Yeah, you guys are doing a good job. It's good to see a lot of the good things, especially in the paper, like this article today about coffee shop and the special education students going down there. Like, if you hadn't had an opportunity to read that article in the Newcastle News, please do. It's really good, especially what special education department's doing, Mrs. Long.
You've been here an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I'll keep it.
We're not talking.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Any new business? Before I adjourn, we will have an executive session for personnel after this meeting. So with that, I guess I don't need a motion. I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Take a quick stretch.